Well, if you are a fan of automotive trends, and we hope that you are, you probably already know that we have a soft spot for Mazdas. They are generally well into enthusiast-friendly territory, even with their mainstream offerings, things like the Mazda3, Mazda6, even the CX-5 little crossover utility is much better for an enthusiast driver than anything you can get from the competition. And the good news is that the new Mazda3 is probably the best one yet. For a lot of reasons. We like the 2-liter engine, but we'll get to that in a minute. We also like the new style. The last Mazda 3 in particular was getting pretty frumpy, and this one comes back to some nice swooping lines. Really like the front end on this. The new family Mazda grille works very well in our opinion at any size. And the 4-door sedan that we're driving here this week is actually probably our favorite new look, because the 5-door hatch, which has always been our favorite up till now, in the new generation has kind of got a kind of a droopy rear hatch area in our opinion. But the sedan looks very, very good, so we like that. The interior also continues to be very, very good. So you have a nice, straightforward cabin design, but the materials are very good for this class. Everywhere you reach, the materials feel great, and that includes the details like the center controls for the rotary knob that controls the infotainment system. Mazda has always lagged in this area, but now we have this easy to use, and it feels good too in the hand. You've got a home button, and that kind of gives you this nice layout to choose any of the 5 kind of categories that you might need to go into. You need to pop into the entertainment. You've got easy access to the nav, which is going to be used quite a lot, and you've got easy access to the audio, which is the other big function. We also like the standalone volume knob, very Audi-esque there. But we also have 2 more helpful buttons surrounding the controller. You've got the back function. You've also got a little star, which turns out to be a favorites list, so that you can store within your favorites list your AM, FM, or satellite radio stations, as well as any other, perhaps Pandora channels, things like that you might have. Small diameter steering wheel feels great. The center screen, 7-inch, is the perfect size for this car. We like how it kind of has a modern aesthetic to it, kind of a thin screen coming up out of the dash. It just looks really nice. It's a bit more flamboyant in design than you'd get in this class generally, but other than that, just very solid design, and ergonomics are good as well. Rear seat area is also solid. This is a Grand Touring model, so we have some extra features like red stitching on the black leather, and the rear seats do fold down to allow for trunk pass-through, so that's also handy on a small car like this. Now, the Grand Touring also comes with a bunch of things that you don't really need to still keep the basic goodness that Mazda is including on every Mazda 3. So if you can do without things like leather or the navigation screen, you can get into a Mazda 3 for about $20,000, a little over 20, for a nicely equipped model actually. We're looking at about $25,000 for this loaded Grand Touring model. There's actually a few more things you can add to this model, but you don't really need any of them. We prefer the more basic approach when it comes to our Mazda 3s. However, the 2-liter 4-cylinder that is included on the base models is really all you need. It's 155 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually more than enough, because Mazda continues their focus here on lightweight. So the 3 is more than capable when it comes to a nice light chassis, and that's really what continues to make the difference on driving this car versus the competition in the class. The Mazda is just tuned so well in its chassis that responses are much quicker, turn-in is fine. This isn't even a sport pack model. We're looking at the standard 16-inch wheels here, nothing particularly performance-oriented there. But yet this car behaves very, very, very nicely in all circumstances. The ride is phenomenal, actually. The ride handling balance is probably what sets this car apart above anything else. The ride remains comfortable over all pavement types. yet it never gets floaty, and the responses are still there and quick enough to be satisfying for an enthusiast. Now, we would like to drive this model with the 6-speed manual because we are driving the 6-speed automatic here. Now, the good news is Mazda has tuned that automatic very smartly, and it matches to the engine very well. It'll easily kick down a couple gears to get you into the passing power that you need. But other than that, the engine's refined and the fuel economy is there. Mazda continues to make good strides in that area. This car is actually approaching diesel fuel economy efficiency on the highway with a highway rating of 41 miles per gallon. And even in the city, 30 miles per gallon. Very, very strong fuel efficiency from the little Mazda here. So when you look at the style, which we like, the engine, which we like, the actual chassis, which is simply unbeatable in this class, and the included features for this $25,000 model, or if you can live without some of those, if you don't need the Bose audio or the, like we mentioned, the center screen, heated seats, things like that, for low $20,000 range, the car simply remains the class act of the small compact car segment. So you are doing a disservice to yourself if you're shopping in this market and not considering the 2014 Mazda 3. Go ahead.
Wow, you're a really good driver.